Have you ever stepped into a crowded place and felt your energy drop straight through the floor? The lights are too bright, the music pushes against your ribs, voices stack on top of each other until they blur into one long band of noise. You stand there trying to perform normal, smile, nod, keep pace, while a quieter voice inside whispers, "I don't belong in this volume." It can feel confusing, especially when you look around and see people glowing in that chaos, laughing louder, moving faster, soaking it all up like sunlight. Why do some people thrive there while others feel like they're shrinking? Maybe you've asked yourself that exact question walking down a busy street where every horn, every laugh, every snippet of conversation sticks to your brain like static. A baby cries, a car door slams, a bus exhales its brakes, somebody nearby tells a story too loudly, a group erupts into laughter at the end of the block, and your mind catches every separate strand as if it's responsible for tracking them all. It isn't that you dislike people. It's not even that you dislike the world when it's loud. It's that your system doesn't filter the inputs in a way that makes crowds easy to swim through. Psychologically, there's a pattern that explains this. Many people who struggle with crowds carry a highly sensitive nervous system. The brain's usual gatekeepers, those tiny mechanisms that dim the volume on irrelevant signals, don't shut the door as tightly for you. Instead of letting background noise fade, your mind drinks it in. Light pulsing, sounds overlapping, movement in your peripheral vision, micro-expressions flickering across strangers' faces, even the emotional temperature in the room. Your attention doesn't file those things under "not urgent." It absorbs them like a sponge. And as any sponge does, it gets saturated. That's why an hour in a packed space can leave you feeling wrung out while your friend leaves buzzing. It isn't weakness, it's wiring. The very sensitivity that lets you notice the soft catch in someone's voice or the way tension slides into a conversation also means your system gets full faster. Crowds then aren't just rooms, they're data storms. Every flashing sign, every shifting posture, every overlapping soundtrack arrives without a dimmer switch. So when you find yourself on edge in a grocery store on a Saturday or quietly panicked in a festival crowd, it's not because you're broken. It's because your mind is doing exactly what it does best, noticing. It just notices more than most, and sometimes more than is comfortable to carry. But there's something big most people miss about you. You're not antisocial, you're observant. You don't disappear into quiet because you dislike others. You step back because your attention is honest. You catch small details most people blur past. The smile that doesn't reach the eyes, the laugh that lands a half second late, the way someone's shoulders fold when the topic changes, the heaviness hanging in the corner of a room as if the air itself remembers yesterday's argument. You can feel tension arrive a beat before anyone names it. That isn't odd, that's emotional intelligence. You're tuned to human weather in a way that helps you read it long before the forecast. And there's a deeper current carrying your discomfort with crowds. In big groups, individuality thins out. People drift into sameness, same tone, same posture, the subtle social choreography that says, "Be like us and you won't be lonely." In that atmosphere, masks multiply. Not the malicious kind, just the daily little masks we wear to keep the peace and belong. When you're surrounded by hundreds of soft disguises, your mind tires of acting. You value authenticity at a cellular level, and pretending, even in small ways, taxes you quickly. That's why solitude feels honest. When you're alone or with one person who lets the real version of you breathe, the constant microcalibration shuts off. Your inner voice stops shouting to be heard over the crowd. You're free to listen to what you actually think instead of trying to hold your shape against the pull of the room. This isn't cynicism. It's clarity. You understand that not all quiet is loneliness and not all noise is connection. The world often elevates busy as proof of worth. You've learned that stillness is where you hear yourself best. People sometimes label silence as empty, but you know silence like a studio, a place with good light and space to work. And in that studio, you're not withdrawing from life. You're stepping toward it on your own terms. You're not hiding from people. You're making room to be one. So when the crowd asks, "Why are you so quiet?" it's not a deficiency they're pointing at, it's a different language they haven't learned to speak. You're paying attention in a way they can't see. You're reading the page beneath the page. There's also a chemistry piece to this, one that shows up in how your brain responds to stimulation. Some people get a pleasant rush of dopamine, the brain's reward signal, when they're in the middle of social buzz. The lights, the movement, the chatter. For them it's an engine, not a drain. They feel charged. Your system tends to give a different response. It releases less of that reward signal in those conditions, and the incoming noise lands more like an overload than a prize. While they are energized by the crowd's temperature, your nervous system heats up too quickly, like a small pot that boils before the pasta is even in. That isn't a flaw, it's your natural chemistry. And it helps explain why the places that make you feel most alive are different. A late night walk on a street that finally felt quiet, an empty cafe at an hour nobody claims, a long drive with the volume turned low and the road unspooling under your tires, a park bench where morning light arrives in slow, kind layers. Those moments refill you because at last there's room. Room to breathe, to think one thought from start to finish without a dozen other thoughts elbowing it off the table. You're not fleeing the world in those scenes, you're returning to yourself. There's another thread in the research that fits your experience too. People who dislike crowds often carry stronger empathy signals. Their brains mirror what others feel more readily, which is beautiful in small groups and overwhelming in big ones. Imagine walking into a room where joy sparks in one corner, grief hangs in another, anxiety hums along the back wall, irritation crackles near the door. Now picture your inner system reflecting all of that at once. Of course you feel tired. You're not feeling one clear emotion, you're feeling the mix. It's like trying to hear a single melody while a dozen songs are playing over each other. Your chest will sometimes tighten not because you're anxious without cause, but because your body is trying to carry borrowed feelings that don't have a place to land. After that, quiet isn't just nice, it's necessary. It gives the borrowed emotions a chance to fade. It lets your mirror cool. None of this makes you weak or difficult. It makes you tuned. The cost of that tuning is that crowds come with a price tag others don't see. The gift of that tuning is that your connections, when they're right, can feel like clean water. Refreshing, steady, nourishing in a way the loudest room can't replicate. So here's the part you should hold on to when the world tries to convince you otherwise. There is nothing wrong with preferring peace in a culture that worships volume. It can take real courage to slow down when everyone cheering you on seems to be cheering for speed. But you know something plenty of people only discover after they burn out. Silence isn't empty. It's full of meaning. Quiet doesn't erase you, it reveals you. When you're alone, or simply in a gentle setting with someone who understands, your thoughts aren't competing for air. They arrive in complete sentences. Your emotions aren't ricocheting, they're settling. Solitude then isn't loneliness by default. It can be self-connection, the steadying experience of meeting yourself and remembering that you're allowed to take up space exactly as you are. You don't owe anyone a performance to justify your presence. You don't owe any room a louder version of you. The next time someone asks, "Why are you so quiet?" you have permission to smile because you're listening to a layer they can't hear. The tiny shifts, the unspoken stories, the thread under the noise. You see deeply. You feel deeply. And that depth is not a liability, it's the thing that makes you unmistakably you. You're not avoiding life when you say no to the event that would flatten you. You're protecting your peace, honoring the limits that let you be fully present when it matters. You're not missing out when you choose a calm night over a crowded place. You're choosing what keeps your mind clear and your heart soft. There's a kind of freedom in that. The freedom to leave a room before you start resenting it, to choose a friend's kitchen over a bar, to take the long way home because the quiet road feels like a gift. Peace is priceless. That truth will sound cliché to people who haven't yet paid the bill for constant noise. It won't sound cliché to you. You felt the bill come due in your own body. You felt the relief of paying attention to the things that actually make you alive. And if you worry you'll be misunderstood forever, remember this too. You're not broken, you're built for nuance. Crowds will always exist. So will people who love them. You don't have to argue with that. You're allowed to design a life that treats your sensitivity as a resource instead of a problem to solve. That might mean leaving early without apology, choosing a handful of deep friendships over a ring of acquaintances, building small rituals that bring your nervous system back to baseline, stepping outside for 2 minutes to see the sky, breathing in a hallway where the air is still, sitting in your parked car for a quiet song before you walk into the next room. All you're doing is respecting the way your instrument plays best. You can let other people have their music and still keep time with your own. Think of your presence like a tide. You can flow into the bustle when you choose, you can slip out when the cost outweighs the benefit, and neither motion needs to be explained to people who don't feel what you feel. The right people will meet you where you are. And there's a quiet, steady joy that comes with trusting your own rhythm, the knowledge that you're not here to keep up with everything, you're here to be here. So tell me honestly, are you one of those people who feels the walls closing in at a festival, who has to find the exit at a packed store, who comes home from crowded places more tired than when you left? Or are you the one who feels most alive in that sea of energy? I want to hear how it is for you. Share in the comments because I'm curious how many of us choose peace over noise, how many of us have learned that quiet isn't a lack. It's a way of paying attention that brings the world back into focus. If this resonated with the quiet part of you, subscribe and stay close. Let's keep choosing calm and protecting our peace together.